Morning in real time. It is the last day of September, which is so crazy. I am so excited. We're going to the mountains this weekend and so excited for some fall time. And also, little PSA, there's breakfast cleanup going on in the room down the hall. So the kitchen. So you may hear a little bit of background going on there, but all good. Sherry, good morning. Fit and Wellness. Is it Carol? Am I remembering your name correctly? Let me know, but good morning. It's so good to have you. And I am curious. So it's funny, yesterday, if you're joining on Instagram, I'm so glad you're here. And if you're joining on any social platform, I'm so glad you're here. We definitely had a Mercury in retrograde moment with the audio on here, and I asked afterwards. Oh, good, I remembered your name correctly. Good. I asked afterwards, just on my stories, like, is Mercury really in retrograde again? And people are like, "Yep, indeed it is." So fingers crossed, no weird Mercury in retrograde stuff going on this morning. And we're talking today about this concept from Think and Grow Rich of you have to give before you can get. And it's such a powerful concept, not only as a way for you to elevate your sales and your financial results, but also to just to feel really good and be happy in the process too. So let me just take a moment and welcome everyone who's joining live right now. We've got Michelle, good morning. Morgana, Elizabeth, Kalua, Cece, good morning, good morning, good morning. And if you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, I love knowing you're here. The only way I know you're here is if you leave me a comment. So I would love to know who's here watching this morning from there. Hey, Kalua. So who here is familiar with the law of compensation? Is anyone familiar with this law? Because this is really important. And if you're not familiar with it and you're not yet hitting your sales or your income goals, what likely is happening, one, like stuff can just take a little bit to get ramped up, like that's normal, but you also may not be working according to the law. So we want to work according to the law so you can achieve the goals that you're looking for. And this is a really beautiful one as well. Let me just take a moment and say good morning, Holly. Good morning, Mary Beth. Good morning. Oh, I love seeing each of you each day. It's so, so fun. So we're going to be talking about the law of compensation today. And we're going to do a little bit of reading from Think and Grow Rich as well. And also, I want to just share a quick PSA before we get into it. Next Monday through Wednesday, if you're watching this in real time, it's very possible I will not be live. We're going to be on, it's kind of a combined like vacation coupled with a client intensive in Asheville. So I will very likely be at some sort of a breakfast place this time next Monday through Wednesday. I'll be back Thursday. And if anything switches and I feel inspired, I may still go live Monday through Wednesday, but I wanted to let everybody know. And while I do that, let's get into the reading and let's talk about this. Okay. So it's actually just like one sentence that we're going to read from this book. And then we're going to talk about how you can apply it to achieving your own financial and sales goals. So Napoleon Hill says, this is in the chapter on faith, because of the need for faith and cooperation in operating business and industry, it is both interesting and profitable to analyze an event which provides an excellent understanding of the method by which industrialists and business people accumulate great fortunes by giving before they try to get. Giving before you try to get. Now, we're not going to go into the event. It's I think a speech that Charles Schwab gave way back in the day that ended up creating billions of dollars for him. But the whole point of it, Claire, good morning. Good to see you. The whole point of that I want you to take that we're going to talk about today is that the accumulation of great wealth, great sales, great finances is by giving before you get. So who here, and I don't think I got any answers before. Are you familiar with the law of compensation? Is anybody familiar with this? Are we not? Give me a yes or a heart if you are, and type no in the comments if you're not, because this is so important. So the law of compensation governs how much money you make at any given point in time. And this is why you may ask, why can somebody who maybe doesn't have morals or ethics that align with what I would think would make them a quote unquote good person, right? How can they make so much money? Well, the law is agnostic, okay? And it doesn't have anything to do with your morals, but it has to do with three things. Cece's saying yes, Mary Beth is saying no. Okay, this is this is going to be good. And I would also invite you, like, take notes on this because this one is really, really important. So according to the law of compensation, you're always going to be compensated according to three things. Number one, the demand for what you do. So this is why, you look at Starbucks, there's a lot of demand for that type of an experience. People who we talked yesterday about people making great fortunes in times of what may feel like hardship or scarcity or lack for other people, and people who created mask businesses in this past year. Huge demand. So, and this is especially important if you're an entrepreneur or you're working with a startup. Maybe you're thinking about creating a business, is looking at, well, what's the demand for what you do? And it sounds so simple, but it's important. It's really, really important. Jen, on YouTube, good morning. Love giving. It's my favorite. Okay, don't know the law. Awesome. This is going to be, I know, especially because you're doing exciting things. So this is going to be really helpful for you. The second piece, how good are you at doing it? How good are you at what you do? Now, the first one, the demand for what you do, you can't really influence that too much. I mean, when I think about, we use the Starbucks example, like when Howard Schultz was founding it, like he kind of created the concept, right, of the third space between home and work. And so he kind of created that, but there was already built-in demand for something like that. And he saw the opportunity. So you can't really influence that too much. So that's part of where you can look for what are opportunities out there that you can come in and serve and fill. But the second thing you can totally influence, which is how good are you at what you do? So how are you skilling up? How are you practicing? How are you honing your skills? Are you becoming the best in class, best in your space at what you do? Because that's one key factor to how much you're going to get compensated. And I think about, even there's this awesome place that we discovered here in our new town, and it's an orchard. It's a little orchard. I actually talked about it on my Insta stories last week, but it's run by this 27-year-old guy. And he picked it up from his grandfather. So his grandfather created the place, and then he started working with him years ago, and now he runs the place. And, I've been to a fair number of farmers markets / a fair number of orchards in my day. But anyway, we've all been to places like that. But he makes it so special and so different. So shout out, if you're in North Carolina, to Perkins Orchard. You should go check them out and have fun going over there. He makes it so different and so special. And you get all this like bonus stuff for free. And they've got a really cool way of pricing where for $20, you just fill a bag with as much produce as you can possibly fit in there. And we go and we fill bags, like we fill them. But it's become like, actually this afternoon, poor connection. Are we back? Hopefully we're back. Okay. Fingers crossed. No Mercury in retrograde today. Let me know on Instagram if you can hear me again. Okay. But it's become a part of our Thursday routine now to go over to this place. I usually wrap up work by about 3:00, and we're going to go over as a family and get produce for the week and bring our son. And it's because he makes it such a cool, unique experience, and it's different. And that actually ties in with the third part of the law of compensation. Michelle's saying, yes, still here. Good. Okay. If we ever lose connection on any site, go to another one. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can usually find me on any of them. Perkins Orchard. Yes. And Michelle, it would be driving distance for you. It's over in Durham. It's so fun. It's so awesome. So the third part that it ties in with is, how difficult would it be to replace you? How difficult would it be to replace you? And when I was spending more time in the personal branding space, thank you for the hearts. When I was spending more time in the personal branding space with that business, I was working with a client, one of my favorite clients there. And he wrote I don't know if he'd be okay with me. I won't share a lot of information on him right now because I don't know. But anyway, he wrote a really cool book about the power of gratitude. and has really been building a brand for himself in industries where salespeople could be commoditized. So you think about the legal space, the mortgage space, right? There's so much that's getting put online, and it's like, how do you stand out? How do you not become commoditized when there's so much technology now that's doing what we used to do? And it's happening in most industries, but by little things, right? Building those relationships, like expressing gratitude, doing things differently, that makes it harder to replace you. And so those three things. So if you want a quick recap on the law of compensation, you're always going to be compensated according to the demand for what you do, how good you are at it, and number three, the difficulty there would be in replacing you. Now, so if you're not hitting your sales goals or your financial goals yet, and you've been at it for some amount of time, so it's not like you're just getting ramped up and there's, a kind of a liftoff period you need, but I want you to think about, are you giving more? Like, are you trying to get more than you're giving? So are you looking for something for nothing or something for less than what you're willing to give? Now, when I talk about giving, this is not in any way, shape, or form about efforting, like pushing the rock up the hill or going into like the slave girl archetype of, I have to work so hard for pennies. That's not what I'm talking about here at all. But are you, in the quality of what you put out and in the service that you offer in the world, are you giving at least as much as you want to get back, if not more? And so for me personally, the rule that I set, and this is how I price my programs, this is also why I show up and do these lives every day. And I want to like share as much as I can, whether you're a client or not, is that I want to give, like, whatever my financial goal is, my aim is I'm going to give at least 10 times that much value out into the world. Like if someone's paying X for a program, they're going to get 10 times that in a return, at least. And that's just my rule. You could pick a different multiple, but you need to be aiming to give more than what you're looking to get back always. And how it works too, this is part of where we can relax our grip on how that money and those sales are meant to come in. You're not always going to get it back from the person who you think is going to buy from you. So think about this. And I've got a cool story that like just happened that I'll share more about down the road with this. But have you ever, had a prospect, a sales prospect, and you're talking to them and you're like, oh, this is a slam dunk. Of course they're going to buy from me. This is so clear that this is meant to be. And then they just ghost. Like they don't buy, something happens, it falls off. And I want you to notice when that happens, do you go into fear or scarcity about, oh, where's the money going to come from? When you do that, you're not working according to the law. This is another law, the vacuum law of prosperity, that the universe abhors a vacuum, and you will always be compensated according to the good you put out. But like if you didn't go into the energy of scarcity and you stayed in that place of like, okay, well, that one wasn't meant to be, but I know I just gave a lot of value in the sales conversation, and I know that I'm ready for a new client. So I'm excited to see who else it is. And then the client comes in another way, someone unexpected. I've story after story after story of this, and I know you do too if you think about it. Someone unexpected reaches out and they're like your perfect client, and it's an easy yes. That's how it works. So you don't, and this is one of the biggest things I want to change in the sales world, okay, is that we get so hung up on like, this person has to be my client. You do not get to decide who's your client or not. You don't. Your job is to show up, do your part, serve, operate according to the law of compensation, and be open to who is meant to come in and connect with you. And if some things are like very clear cut, like this person feels like a perfect fit and they are, and they sign up and it's beautiful. But when it doesn't happen that way, you don't get to micromanage the process, and we don't get to be attached to who is our client and who's not. Because when we do that, we literally like death grip it, and you cut yourself off from possibility and from opportunities. And we've, how do I share this? We got a member in the community who was sharing yesterday on our group call about, she signed up for the 10K club in, I think, July. And actually had a 10K month this month, which is her biggest month yet. And the money came in some unexpected ways, not exactly what she was thinking, but it still came in. And that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it works. And so this is the other thing I want to share here, and then we'll start to kind of wind up for today. So if you have questions on this, pop them in the comments. But this is a really powerful way. If you're in any sort of scarcity or not enoughness thinking, this is a really powerful way to shift out of scarcity thinking into abundance thinking. And it always starts with that, your prosperity, your sales success, your financial success. It will come from the place of abundance mindset, first and foremost. And Tony Robbins says, the secret to living is giving. The secret to living is giving. And if you find yourself in any sort of like, woe is me, or fear, or not enoughness, you're too focused right now on yourself. Like I'll call it. And I've been there. I say all of this from personal experience. The fastest way to shift out of it is to focus on, how can I give? How can I serve? Who needs me? Because your brain cannot focus on two things at the same time. Martin, good morning. How are you? Your brain cannot focus on two things at the same time. You cannot be focused simultaneously on giving and helping someone and feeling worried or fearful about yourself. Okay. So if you're finding yourself in any lower vibrational thoughts, scarcity, etc., you need to shift into giving right now. It's like giving and gratitude are those things. But when we come into that place of giving, we then also can cultivate the feelings of gratitude of like, wow, look how abundant I am that I can give. Even if it's your time, maybe it's not money that you want to give right now, but thank you so much for the hearts. Maybe it's a compliment to somebody. Maybe it's a live stream. If you've been hiding and not wanting to be visible, I can tell you right now, that's something that when you shift that and you decide to show up and share your brilliance, your genius in your space, not only will you feel better because you're giving, but now you're operating according to the law of compensation. You're giving more of your expertise. So we want to be super generous in what we give and not hold back. You know, I've seen so much in companies that that maybe I worked for in the past or have done some coaching or training, but not all of them by any means, but some of them for sure, where it's like, well, we don't want to give too much because then why would people pay us? And that's like, they don't want to share a lot of stuff on social. They don't want to launch a podcast because they're in fear about giving away too much. It's not how it works. You can't outgive God. You can't outgive the universe. So when you show up and you give generously, I always buy from people who I don't know about you all, but like the coaches I work with, the mentors I work with, the people I buy from, it's because they gave generously first of their expertise, whether I saw them speak at an event or I listened to their podcast for a while. Thank you so much for the hearts. Or I like watched their Instagram, whatever it is. Like, I was like, gosh, if I could get this much from them for free, what would it be like to pay them and to work with them? And it is an up-leveled experience as well. So you can't outgive. You can't. Try it, test it and see. Test it and see, and have fun with it as well. So let's see here. Jen, have you been reading my mind? Visibility makes me want to throw up. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. And I hear you there. And the first step, Jen, is not saying that again. And I know you're just being honest, girl. I know. But the first step is just being like mindful of language, right? I know that visibility is something on my mind because it's something I feel called to do, even though it may feel a little uncomfortable right now. But I know if it's a thought, a desire that's on my heart, that it's meant for me. And I'm open to finding out what it would look like for me to be more visible. Just like mindful of the language. I love you. Mindful of the language. All right, my friends. So that's it for today. Grab your ticket for Sedona. We've got our early bird special $1,000 off tickets through October 15th. It's going to be transformational. So powerful. You say, I know, but it's true. It's only true because you think it is. So again, shift it. And I'm going to call you because you're a client. I'm calling you on it. Okay. What else? Oh, and then again, if you hopped on towards the end of this, it is possible if you don't see me live next Monday through Wednesday, pause due to poor connection, come back. Oh my gosh, come back. Okay. If you don't see me live next Monday through Wednesday, we're on a combination vacation and client intensive. And so I may not, I'll decide when we get closer, but it's possible I won't be live those days. So, all right, my friends, I hope this was of service to you. Tomorrow, we are talking about this concept of auto-suggestion in the book. And if you're someone who's like, how do I reprogram my subconscious mind to get me the results I want? And affirmations don't feel like they're working and yada, yada. Join, because for a long time, I didn't feel like they worked for me. And then they started working really well. And I want to teach you, I'm going to teach you what I do. Because it's been a powerful, powerful, powerful tool in my toolbox. Okay, wishing you a beautiful, more of the way you said, that's awesome, Jen. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. If I can be of service, send a DM, and I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning. All right, take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.